Just send them that little thing. So language detection. So in Germany, for example, there's multiple ways that people, if you can say, I want to search the world, the web, I want to search only sites in German, or I want to search only sites in Germany. It's very different. So German is spoken in Austria, it's spoken in Switzerland, a variety of other places. So there's just different areas. So the engines, Google, trying to give people more relevant results. So how many people have ever done this search? You've been on a business trip, you wanted something for Hartford, and all you see is like results for the local city. Anybody had that? I was in China trying to find a place to get snow tires, and I couldn't get to Hartford results for nothing. And that's this local IP stuff that's going on. They look at your IP of the user and try to serve you content. So if you're a US company with a .com, you're probably not going to be seen in Australia on the single .com site. Big companies, 87% of the global 1,000 all use /country code. So how do we work around this? So as I promised, here's the slide. So geo-targeting for Google. This is actually what I meant by those multiple sitemaps. So we go in and create a sitemap for every single version of the website, /DE for Germany, /UK. Load that sitemap, but we can also go into this cool setting and say, this site, so adobe.com/AT, which is their Austrian site, target users in Austria. And what that does is everything in that folder, Austria down, is now the equivalent of having a .at or a .co.uk website. So it's telling Google, everything here is exclusively for the UK. So you'll pretty much disappear from the US search results, but you will appear in the local market search results. So when people do that query in Germany, or in this case Austria, they will absolutely see. This takes about a week to take effect. So if you've got a site at .com and you're trying to target 10 countries, you may want to parse it out into /ES for Spain, and then set this geographical targeting so that way that content is unique to Spain.
Is that in Webmaster Tools?
It's in Webmaster Tools. And you'll only see it and have access to it if you've created an account for that version of your website. Now it doesn't work if you have a .co.uk. That's native to the UK. But if you have a /UK, then it's the same thing. If you have a UK dot, it's the same thing. It will treat it like a .co.uk. This is a big, big problem right now in the marketplace. Big companies are getting hammered right and left because of this problem.
So we have 14 different international sites, and we run off the country code, so it's mathworks.de, .it. Looking at a lot of our benchmark sites, everyone, as you mentioned, are running off of .com/country code. So we're actually considering, for internal reasons, moving towards that direction. So obviously this solution could help as far as helping identify those sites. But what would your recommendation be? Would you recommend staying with the current site structure, going off of the .country extensions, or do you think we run the risk?
Well, if you're on top-level domain, so .de, keep it unless there's an economic reason or operational reason you need to bring it back.
Yeah.
The next is if you can't, if you have to run it out of here, and like many companies, it's $500,000 to $1 million to make the migration, then you're going to have to use a solution like this. Now remember the makeup of Google. This only works for Google. That's why I made the comment that like Naver and Yandex, they're Russian and Korean. This isn't a problem because in order to appear in those indexes, you got to have the local language. So definitely I would, if you can keep the top-level domain, keep it. Those of you just starting out, if you can get a top-level domain, that's de.com.au for Australia, absolutely go that route. It's more expensive, but you have an absolute signature for the local market. If you can't, then use this option. It doesn't work in any other engine but Google. It works like a charm. As soon as you turn it on within 2 weeks, it doesn't help rankings, it just helps being in the results. And you'll see that within 10 days, you'll see that you start appearing.
So for search engines like Baidu and Naver, obviously this wouldn't have any sort of impact.
You wouldn't be in it unless you have Chinese content. So it doesn't help you there. This is the biggest boon for English, Spanish, French, and German, where there's multiple countries. Like English, if you take an English site that you were using for the entire world, if you look around the world, you're probably missing from all those other indexes. You're in there, you're just not going to show up. You take it and either create a .co.uk version or a /UK version, set this, and next you'll start showing up. And it's amazing how many people don't even know about this.
Bill, as far as domains, let's take Europe as an example. You can buy .eu, which presumably covers Europe, or .each country.
.each country.
.each country.
.eu only works like a .com. It covers the world. It's not a US, contrary to popular belief. .us is US. .com is a global domain,
Right.
which is no longer global because it can't be. So same thing with the .eu. That's a problem. So definitely go with the local top-level domain.
Do you have any preference as far as using a subdomain instead of like /es/.
Use a directory.
Yeah.
You see, on the CMS side, it's 10 times easier to manage off of a directory than a subdomain. And you can set this easier inside the subdirectory than you can off a domain, subdomain.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. So for English-speaking countries in Europe, you would suggest having a unique website for each?
Yes.
A unique channel for each?
A unique channel for each. So
and if you couldn't for political reasons, what would the next best suggestion be?
Show them what you're missing out on in traffic from that particular country. I'd have them search. The shock and awe of having somebody search for a particular phrase in a local search engine, even doing that phrase in site colon with your domain, and seeing that you're not actually there, I mean, that's pretty powerful to the local market. And then explaining what is the economic value of having that type of thing in the local market. I mean, it's a huge problem. So we got two sides. We've got the big companies, which for a variety of reasons thinks their English site or their global site works everywhere in the world. And then we've got the small company that previously was targeting 4 or 5 English-speaking countries that now is not getting the traffic. So they're the ones, I mean, both sides have equal challenges. One's got to create 10 times the content. The other one's got the political issues. So I would show the numbers, what you're missing out on.
And in your experience, would it matter that, like if you did set it up for European English-speaking countries, you had one for each, duplicate content wouldn't hurt you because you'd be targeting each specific site for each specific.
That's the other big one, is that when you do this, it eliminates a lot of that duplicate content penalty that you had. When you created the .com, the .co.uk, those are creating, you've set the uniqueness between them.
Yeah.
It's when you've got a .com and you / all the different versions, but don't set this, that's where the problem comes in.
So they could almost be mirrored sites.
Absolutely mirrored.
In a different channel.
But the second gotcha, it's almost like you've seen part of this presentation before. So the other thing they gotcha is these kind of things. So meta-language tags. Anybody know what percentage of these tags are wrong on the web?
Probably 80%.
It's like 97%. The W3C did a thing, and the one that's wrong the most is Japan. It's actually not JP, it's JA. I've yet to find any CMS system that puts in the right code for Japan. The other one are the English GB. That's telling that it's English for Great Britain, English for Canada. Otherwise, it's just EN for English around the world. So if you're further trying to segment language for Canada or Australia, use the appropriate subcode, which is GB or AU for Australia. It helps send those signals. The other is some markets are still using character set, like Shift-JIS, or this is the Windows one. Migrate everything to UTF-8 or UTF-16, where that way it handles the Asian characters no matter who loads it. We good on time?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's getting late, so we'll go through a few of these others really quickly.